December 12th. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Crawford?
Here.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Mr. Norris?
Here.
Mr. Wittenfeld?
Here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a motion for adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Second. Go ahead.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Norris?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Wittenfeld?
Yes.
All right, recognition. So it is bittersweet, but I'd like to recognize Dwayne Moore for 4 years of service with the Norwalk City School District Board of Education. I've got to work with you for 2 years, and it has been nothing but a pleasure. So I honestly, that might be shocking to some, but honestly, Dwayne, you have put in more than just a lot of what people think board members put in. You're constantly available, always supporting the students. You're tons of functions, and I truly believe that you'll continue supporting this district even out the board. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And Dwayne, you've meant a lot to me personally, because if it wasn't for you and two other wise men, I wouldn't be in this chair. So, but obviously that's not the important part. I'm going to echo what Allison Crawford said, that your support of kids has been top notch. I've known you probably post your retirement from Norwalk City School District, but as a teacher professor at Bowling Green. So that's clearly my first connection when you were teaching classes at this space for our high school students. So that's when I got to know Mr. Moore and work with him there, and then very much been impressed with what you've done, going to activities, your service at EHOBE, and always putting the kids in the forefront. So very much appreciate that. And for that, I know you have a old guy pass. However, we also have a pass that will guarantee you at all Norwalk Trucker events. So the only thing you'll have to pay for is Robin Rogers musical and a few other things. But other than that, we'll get you free on most other things. So,
No, of course.
I'd just like to thank everybody. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on this board, working with a great board that has really come together. There was times that we weren't together, and I want to really thank everybody here. Thank Mr. Cooley, Mr. Bauman, Joyce. I'll tell you, Mr. Cooley has been one of the best, if not the best superintendent that I have ever worked with. I've worked with a lot. I came here in 1971. I almost said 51. 71, yeah, I'm showing my age. He is one of the best that we have ever had, and I enjoy that. I want to thank the board too for the opportunity to work with the HOBE board. I didn't know that much about the vocational stuff. In fact, for a while there, being a public school teacher, I was almost anti-vocational. I wanted to stay here. But being up there, I learned a lot from Mr. McCulley, and along with Mr. Cooley, they're both two great superintendents that you have working for your district. And again, I want to thank you so much. I want you to know that I'll be available for the building committees. Anything you need me for, I will be available. Of course, my wife will want you to have me available. She wants to get me out of the house. So anyhow, thanks so much.
Special presentation.
yeah, so we have not had students with us in several board meetings, so this clearly we want the focus to be why we do what we do. So it's good to have our young faces here, and Jody Chafee is a critical. We've tried to recruit her to be Norwalk City School District full-time. I've failed on that front many times, but not only does she assist at Norwalk, but all the other school districts in the surrounding area. So that's why I couldn't get a yes from her to be solely with us, but she's a top-notch person. So I will do the handoff at this point to her or Mrs. Smith.
I just have a couple highlights. It will probably take me a long time to go over everything for this. Jody Chafee is a musician with the Violin Symphony Orchestra in Sandusky. For over 20 years, she has held the chair of flute, two, and piccolo. She is a personnel manager, librarian, and community engagement director. She's the director, and she also presents engaging programming for all ages. She has been coming to second grade at Pleasant for maybe even 10 years. Every November she comes and she does it free and so excited. The kids get excited, the staff gets excited. It's like a special event every November. And we want you to know how much we appreciate that. She's been a substitute musician with the Cleveland Pops Orchestra and Ashland Symphony Orchestra. She's a part of a professional flute quartet. It's called High Frequency. Sometimes they play in Sandusky. I've heard of this really good show. She served as band director for 6 years. And she does have, not many people across the country have the prestigious National Ford Musician Award from the League of American Orchestras. And she is serving as a band director for 6 years and graduated from BGSU. She is married to Ben Chafee and resides in North Fairfield with her 3 children, Benjamin, Lydia, and Brian. In her spare time, in her spare time, she serves as the vice president of the South Central High School Music Parents Organization and is part of the junior class advisors. She also volunteers a lot with her time with churches and all the community events that she can fit in. Thank you.
Hey,
Sure. Go ahead.
So I'm just going to hand out this flyer. Each of the students that I see get to take home a flyer from the program that I present to them. Like Janice said, I am with the Violin Symphony Orchestra. I started out as a band director and I stopped teaching to stay home and raise my kids. And I, by accident, joined an orchestra. I did not mean to be a performer for the rest of my life. And 23 years later, I'm still performing, and it's just by accident. So when my executive director about, it was more than 10 years ago, said, do you think you could come up with a program to go into schools and do something with the kids? I said, okay, well, that's what my superpower is actually teaching. It's not actually performing. So yes, I would love to do something in the schools. And so it's turned into a really huge program, which I'm very proud of. I wrote programs for preschool through 3rd grade, and being married to a superintendent, he's superintendent of South Central Schools, if you don't know, most of you know. But being married to a superintendent, one of the things that I wanted to accomplish with these programs is not bringing in fluff. I wanted to make sure that there was core curriculum in each of the grade levels. And so I made sure to incorporate that in each of the grade levels. Each grade level has a different program, so each kid sees me once a year. I'm in 12 different school districts. And I must leave a lasting memory because every time I walk back into school, I only see these kids once a year, but they recognize me right away. They see me at Walmart and they recognize me, and my poor teenage kids are like, Mom, you're so embarrassing. Everybody comes up to you and says, oh, that's Miss Jody. So it's really fun to create that relationship with them. So today, thanks to Janice inviting me, I wanted to just share with you one of my programs, which is the 2nd grade program. This program focuses on science and music mashed up together, and I think it's a very fun way to get the students involved in knowing that music is more than just listening to something that you enjoy. So I have a whole slew of 2nd graders here that are going to help me with my presentation. Are you guys ready? Okay, can you stand up? Okay, can you stand up? Can you tell us your name? What's your name?
Cole Rogers.
What's your name?
Emily.
And what's your name? And what's your name?
Christy Valentine.
Okay, so these are 2nd graders from Pleasant Elementary School. And so one of the things we start with in the 2nd grade program is talking about how music is created, and there are invisible sound waves that are traveling. So can you come up here with me for just a second? Okay. So one of the experiments that I showed, and by the way, these programs are free to your school. GeoTrack Foundation is who we can thank for that. They've supported me from the start, and no school is charged for any of the programs that I go and do, and which is very helpful as well. So I constantly thank them. And if you know somebody from GeoTrack, thank them also. Okay, stand right over here. She's going to hold my very, very exciting popcorn bowl, and we're going to get extremely awesome aluminum foil, and we're going to cover that bowl. La, 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 la. Okay, good. You hold that right there. Okay. Then we're gonna put some salt right on top. Okay, that's lovely. Now don't lick that. Okay. So kids, I'm gonna stand over here. And if you remember, I'm gonna tap on this drum and you're gonna listen for this, okay? Okay, what is happening when I tap that drum? The salt is moving. Now, can somebody tell me, why is the salt moving? Am I hitting the salt? No. What's moving the salt? Go ahead.
The sound waves.
The sound waves. What if I go like this? It's not moving the salt. Why is it not moving the salt? Go ahead. The weaker it is. So we talk about an echo and how when you start at the sound of an echo, it's very loud and they get softer and softer. As the sound waves travel, they get weaker and weaker. And what we do is we stretch out a slinky and we show them how a wave gets smaller and smaller as it goes. And this is the same thing that happens with these sound waves. They're very strong, right next to the bowl. And then when I tip it away, sound wave travels and bounces and it can't move that salt. Thank you for that awesome demonstration. Now, boys and girls, whenever there is sound, there has to be something vibrating, right? How do we show vibration? Can you show me with your arms? What's it look like when it vibrates? As fast as you can, faster than that, faster than that. Right, okay. Oh, so something has to vibrate to create the sound. Now, am I making sound with my voice right now? Yes. So everybody do an experiment. Oh, by the way, this is very participatory, so you have to do exactly what I asked them to do. Are you ready? Okay. So I just told somebody, I talked to everybody the same. Kindergarten, senior citizen, doesn't matter. I'm going to talk to you the exact same way. Everybody take 2 fingers, put them right here. Oh, you guys can participate too if you want to. Take 2 fingers and go la, 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 la. Okay, can you feel something buzzing in there? Something's vibrating, right? Okay, kids, what is their body part that's vibrating in there? Go ahead.
Vocal cords.
Vocal cords, your vocal cords. They're doing this, right? And we talk about how if everybody's vocal cords were lined up exactly the same, we'd all have the same voice, and that would be really weird. But we all have different vocal cords lined up different ways. So anytime there's sound, we have vibration. So now we talk about the instruments of the orchestra and how there's lots of different sizes of instruments and shapes and things, but there's only 4 different families of instruments. Can you guys help me name those 4 instrument families? What's one of them? Go ahead, say it.
Brass.
Brass,
Woodwind.
woodwind, string, and
Orchestra.
no, and
Percussionist.
percussion, right. So we have those 4 groups of instruments, and we talk about how they each create a vibration doing something different, right? Okay, so will you guys grab your bottle and your straw and come this way? Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the woodwind family. I'll wait till you guys all get up here. The woodwind family. If you guys can show me 1 finger, it is now your birthday candle. I want you to blow it out. Anytime there's an instrument that creates sound by doing that, candle blowing air, that means it's a woodwind instrument, even if it's not made out of wood. So when I talk about the flute, we talk about blowing across that hole creates the vibration. So we're going to blow across our pop bottles. Are you ready? Go ahead, blow. So they create that sound, and that's how these are now considered woodwind instruments. Here they are. They're made of glass, but they're woodwind instruments. Now, kids, remember when I said, okay, so we have a bottle that's this size. If I blow on this the same way that I blew on this one, is this going to sound higher or lower? Lower. Why is it going to sound lower? Because it's bigger. So we talk about how everything whatever is bigger is going to make a lower sound. The smaller things are going to make a higher sound. So I'm going to blow on this one. I'm going to blow this one. So it makes a much lower sound, right? Okay, so then we talk about how the flute is the only one that blows across that hole and creates that vibration. The other ones have reeds, clarinet, sax, oboe, and bassoon. So I tell them they can't blow on my reeds, right? Because they've been in my mouth, and that would be disgusting. So we're not going to do something like that. So I showed them the trick that they can take a straw. If they just blow on a regular, it doesn't make any sound. But if we flatten it out and we trim the top to make it look like a point, and we blow on it, we can make a really annoying sound. Go ahead. Parents, you're welcome. So glad Miss Jody teaches them these things. Okay, so we talk about how the reed will vibrate in your mouth, and that is the vibration that's created in woodwind instruments. It's either going across that hole or it is wiggling something like a reed. Okay, would you guys please put your bottles and your straws back by there, but come back over here and stand over here. Okay, so then we talk about moving away from the woodwind family, we're gonna move to the brass family. If I try to use candle blown air to make a sound on this, ready? Nothing's gonna happen. Why isn't it gonna happen? We have to create the sound a different way, right? Because it's not part of the woodwind. So we can't use candle blown air to make sound on the brass instrument. What do we have to do, everybody? You remember? Let's hold our hand in front of our face. We're gonna put our lips together real tight and blow. Yeah, that's excellent. Excellent. Again, you're welcome. I like to teach the kids this. So that when we buzz our lips together, the vibration happens in our lips. So now we have a sound out of the instrument. Okay, now we're gonna switch to the string family. Who was my person? Okay, so one of the cool things about the string family we talk about is you can actually see the vibration. You cannot see the vibration in woodwinds or brass, but you can see it on the strings. You can see that blur of that string. And every kid in second grade gets to practice plucking the strings. So you're gonna get a chance to pluck those strings. Get out your plucky finger and you get to drag it across there and make a sound. Okay, so in the string instruments, the way we're creating the vibration is plucking. Now,
He corrected me. I'm good now.
I mean, he's not even one of my full-time students, but he's bossy. I make sure that he's got bossy people around. That's what I do. Make sure not to do it. No, not like that. Okay, and then the students say, yeah, but Miss Jody, I know you do that with the guitar and you pluck the strings of the banjo and ukulele, but what about that? What about that thing? Kids, is this called a stick?
No.
No! It's ridiculous. Of course it's not called a stick. What is this called?
A bow.
A bow. And I train them to say, that's not a stick, it's a bow. Because they're very smart individuals. Boys and girls, what is this made out of? Wood. What's this part made out of?
Horsehair.
Why do we use horsehair? Why can't I use my hair? Go ahead, somebody tell me. Go ahead.
Because your hair is like too smooth and horsehair is bumpy.
Horsehair is bumpy. So we talk about under a microscope how horsehair looks like this. It's got ridges to it like fish scales, and that's what actually creates the plucking. So when I do that, it's going and plucking all those strings. Now, and when they were in first grade, they each got to try out a cello. In my program for the first graders, they end with everybody getting to play the cello, which is pretty awesome. It was donated to me, and every kid in Huron County gets to play the cello. It's pretty cool. Okay, so we use horsehair because it's nice and thick and because it'll pluck those strings. Everybody go ahead and grab your cup. Okay, you guys have your cups ready?
Yeah.
All right. Can I hold your cup? Would you give each one of these people a rubber band, please? Okay. Can I hold your cup? Would you give each one of those nice people a cup?
Thank you.
Okay. So we talk about plucking the strings. I also try to make it so that the students can go home and they can experience each of the kinds of instruments at home. They can make some kind of homemade instrument. Yes, do this. Do this with your cup. Put your rubber band right around it. Ladies. So once you get your rubber band around there, let me help you, sir. Very good. Whoop. Okay, so you can take your finger and do exactly what you did on this. Oh, you're all sounding wonderful. If you take the rubber band and you tighten it a little bit, we talk about making something tighter. It'll make a higher sound. And if you, again, go the opposite way and loosen it, it'll make a much lower sound. And listen, you get to keep these. Listen, I know, right? Excellent things you get to keep and take home. Okay, you guys can put your cups back down. And then come back up here. When we talk about our last group of instruments, the percussion instruments, we either strike it or scrape it to make the sound. One of the cool things that we do is we take the cymbal and we have somebody smash it, which we will not do right now. But what it does is it creates a blur on the edge of this cymbal so that the kids can see the vibration just like they saw the vibration on the string instrument. What we do is I come around like this. I'll do it first and you guys show them what to do. Okay, they're gonna go out with their clampy hands. Are you guys gonna get your clampy? Show them the clampy hands. Okay. So then I'm gonna go like this, and what do? You stop that vibration so that they can actually now not only see the vibration, but now they can feel the vibration in their fingers. Okay, there you go. Come on up. Clampy hands, everyone. Not that hard. My goodness, you're gonna scare the tar out of them. The microphone. Sorry. So it's different where it hits today. Depending on if he hits it with the stick or the soft part of the mallet. Or both. Okay, thank you. Okay, so then the students have the chance to experience the vibration by feeling it. So going past all those families of instruments, we end our demonstration with my favorite thing in the whole world. And this is only my second year to have this bowl. This is a singing bowl. It is not for mixing cakes. It's made of quartz, and it makes quite a big vibration. So we're going to have you experience the singing bowl right now. I'm going to take it around to each table, okay? So you might want to make just a little bit of room. I'm going to set it on the table. Now, boys and girls, the first thing we do is we keep our hands low near the bottom of the bowl, but we
Don't touch the bowl.
don't touch the bowl. And then I'm going to tell you to take your one hand and put it in the bowl and have it close to the edge, but
Don't touch the bowl.
right. So don't touch the bowl. And why don't we touch the bowl? What's going to happen if we touch the bowl? Go ahead, tell me. It stops the vibration, just like we did the cymbal. So then the third thing we do is we get our fingertips ready, right? And then we get to touch the bowl. So let's show them how it's done. Why don't we have the first three come over here? Okay, you stand there. You stand on the other side of me. Can you stand on the other side? Okay, put your hands close, low to the bowl. Now one hand in the bowl, but don't touch the bowl. Hands out, fingertips ready. On the count of three, slowly. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the other two, come on over.
It's moving the drum.
Yes, and why is it moving the drum? What's moving the drum? Sound waves are moving the drum. You got that right. Okay, hands near the bottom of the bowl. Don't touch the bowl. Put your hand in the bowl, but don't touch the bowl. And take them out, fingertips ready. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Touch it. Okay. So it's going to be your chance to do this. Are you ready, Mr. Cooley?
No, start with Mr. Ball.
You're gonna share. So put your hands near the bottom of the bowl. So you might be able to feel that vibration coming off of it. Here, put one hand in the bowl, but don't touch the bowl. You feel that warm, fuzzy feeling? Okay, hands out. Now you get your fingertips ready. You're just gonna touch it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Is that cool? It's kind of like a static vibration. One of the things, one of your second graders, and this is the first time that this has ever happened, one of your second graders said to me, "Oh, I've experienced that. Well, that was at trauma camp." And I went, because this is a healing kind of music. It's a healing kind of meditation thing, and they bring it to trauma camp because when I get done doing this all day long, my whole body is vibrating for hours and hours. And the kids have felt that vibration, and it's such an intense vibration that it actually is a healing sort of thing that happens. So I was interested to see that they had it at trauma camp. Don't touch the bowl. Don't touch the bowl. Okay, now I want you to put one hand in the bowl, but don't touch the bowl. You feel like a sort of a fuzzy vibration. Okay, now take your hands out. You're gonna get your fingertips ready and just touch the outside of the bowl on 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more right in front of you. My BG person. I made him play with it when I first bought it. This was one of my birthday gifts. What do you want for your birthday, Jody? I want to sing it. Do you want a what? I want to sing it. Maybe it'll feel that vibration on the outside. Okay, now put your hand in the bowl. That's like a warm, fuzzy feeling. Okay, get your fingertips ready. And on the count of 3, I'm going to have you touch the bowl. 1, 2, 3. That's what the second graders do too. So this is the kind of thing that I try to bring to them every year and just give them kind of new experiences with music. expand their thinking. My third grade program talks about using music to study for their different tests that they have coming up. Third grade starts a lot of the state testing, and from when my kids were little, I would use rhythm and music to teach them to say certain things, like their address. When I was a new mom and my firstborn was going up to kindergarten, how are you going to know your address is like so long? And so we put it in a song, and then I felt better about that. My daughter's the worst speller on the face of the earth. She still, to this day, is the worst speller, but we would create these rhythms at the bus stop every day to practice her spelling words. She got 100% the whole time. She then transferred that into her chemistry formulas, and she would create rhythms for her formulas. She got straight A's. She's getting straight A's PG too. And so we try to teach the kids that music can be a tool for learning. The side of my brain that remembers things to music is like a solid. It is like a vault. The side that remembers things without music is Teflon, and it just goes away. And so I try to teach the kids that when you're studying, if you're having trouble, find a different way to learn it. And I want them to understand that, again, music is more than just listening to fun things. It's a tool for studying, and it touches all parts of education. So anyhow, so that's our presentation. I hope you enjoyed. Do you have any questions for me? Huh? Oh, thank you. Well, thank you for listening. I know this isn't what you usually do in a board meeting, so thank you for letting me just play with you and come in.
You said sing bowl like, I'm not stressed out, but I thought you were
Need you to
like.
sing.
Why don't you try the parents here?
Right. All right. Well, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Jody, I still think there's hours in the 24-hour day that we could carve out for you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. If I ever need employment, I'm coming straight to you.
Thank you for helping us.
Oh, thanks. Let's turn them. Thank you. This is so cool. Let's turn them face Mrs. Smith. Can we see the beautiful smile? Oh, nice, guys. Very good.
You guys turn this way too.
Oh,
We have Norwalk Ohio News over here.
Or did you want to do a quick one too?
Sure.
Over here, Christy, can you
So we can see you? Yeah. Okay. Make sure we can see you, right?
Okay.
Did you get me facing you? I don't think you did. I was looking away the whole time. Do you want to take one more picture? I can guarantee I was looking like this the whole time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Actually, you just want to grab your stuff. And you guys put that on the ground. You guys want to grab all your stuff. And then you should back on your stuff. And then I'll try to. Yeah, you want to grab the symbol.
I can't hear.
You should go out and we're just gonna set everything in my wagon. Pull that wagon out.
All right, Mr. Hudgel.
Janice was going to say good name. So, good evening. I am Rick Hudgel. I'm the principal at Main Street Intermediate School.
And this is Miss Lori Wilkin. Lori is our one of our 5th grade social studies teachers at Main Street School. And we do not have a singing bowl, but we do have a singing social studies teacher, so she's going to present in song today. I'm just kidding. First I just wanted to say thank you to the board for having us today and listening to our presentation. You know, when this opportunity presented itself a few weeks ago, I went to Miss Wilkin because Miss Wilkin has an interesting story. She's traveled with this company before. In fact, she just came on board with Main Street this year. And when Mr. Cooley and I sat down to offer Miss Wilkin the position, she was actually in Venice on a tour with Education First. So she accepted the job to come to Norwalk City School District while she was on one of these tours, which is kind of neat. So I went to Miss Wilkin and said, hey, is this something you would be interested in? And she said, absolutely, I'd be interested in. So called Mr. Cooley, told him what we were thinking of doing. Obviously, Mr. Cooley always wants to do things that are, great experiences for kids. And so we went into the planning stages and decided to gauge interest, what kind of interest there would be in our community for middle school age students to travel abroad in an educational setting, and started to set up a planning parent meeting to see how many might be interested in doing something like this. We need, typically an EF tour needs a minimum of 6 students to go to constitute a tour, and at that point you would pair with, another school that is going on the same tour, et cetera, et cetera. And so we wanted to see, how many students or families might be interested in this. When numbers started to increase, as far as RSVPs go, I contacted Mr. Cooley again and said, hey, we've got, at that point, about 70 people interested in coming to our meeting to hear more about this. And he said, well, let's get you on the board agenda, get you in front of the board so that you can present to them. So that brings us here today. And so we just wanted to share with you a little bit of the presentation that we would share at our parent meeting. We did edit, some things out that don't really apply to today, but just wanted to go through a few slides with you to save time. So let's go to Costa Rica. So what we're going to go over with you today is our rough itinerary, what's included in the price of the trip, a little bit about EF, Education First, our travel partner, what kind of safety and support we have while we're on the trip, and then price and how families will eventually enroll.
Okay, so EF did this kind of survey with parents to see, would parents really be interested in having students travel, especially travel abroad? And these are what the parents had to say. It introduces new ways of learning. It provides innovative hands-on skills. It gets students out and off their screens, out into the real world, and being able to see places that they've only talked about in the social studies classroom. So number 4 complements the academic curriculum. In fact, right now we're doing a unit over North America, and we're learning about the tropical rainforest in Central America and Costa Rica specifically. So to be able to take students to actually see these places that we're talking about in class, and also providing an opportunity to discover one's life passion. I know for me, when I took the trip, it opened up so many new passions. I want to visit new places. As a social studies teacher, to be able to actually tell students that I've visited these places and be able to take them, it's going to be an amazing opportunity.
So the company that we chose to travel with is EF. Now, Ms. Wilkin and I have both traveled with EF in the past. I went on a trip to Madrid. I also planned 2 tours with Education First as well. When I was with Kenton High School, one to Belize. And then when we moved up here, I began to plan one with Margaretta High School, which was to Galapagos. Both of those fell during our global pandemic, and so we were unable to go. But I have been through the planning process, for these tours twice. And as I mentioned before, Ms. Wilkin has traveled with EF recently. They are the global leader in international travel for educational purposes. They are in 50 countries, including an office on the ground in San Jose, Costa Rica. And then they're accredited, as you'll learn a little bit later Students that go on our tour can earn a half of a high school credit just by going on the tour. And they also have the opportunity through New Hampshire University to earn college credit. That obviously comes with a little bit of cost, but 3 hours of college credit. So this is just a small map of our kind of area and other schools that travel with EF on a regular basis. The big circles there are schools that have traveled recently, but schools nearby us that travel with EF include Monroeville, Huron, Wellington, Sandusky, Western Reserve, Vermilion, Avon Lake. I know Margaretta has a trip planned to Ireland, or is planning a trip to Ireland as well. Over 900 schools in Ohio. So this is something that Ohio schools use.
Okay, so this is the itinerary that we would be following for our trip to Costa Rica. We would fly into San Jose, we would spend one night there. We would spend 2 nights in Sarapiqui, 2 nights in the Arno region, and then 2 nights in Guanacaste. And this kind of breaks it down, and if you open up your brochure, it really kind of breaks it down each day, the different activities that we will be doing, the different excursions, the different opportunities to see the cities. So again, day 1, flying into Costa Rica, we're going to meet our tour director at the airport. The tour director will be up with us the entire time. They're bilingual. If there's any sort of issues or problems, they're there with us the entire time. They'll be staying in the hotels with us, traveling with us the entire time. Day 2 in San Jose, starting the day off visiting a coffee plantation and kind of seeing how that works. We'll be traveling to Sarapiqui to actually take a zip lining excursion through the rainforest, which the kids are going to be super excited about that. Also in Sarapiqui, we're going to take a chocolate tour at a biological reserve. We even have a whitewater rafting excursion. So again, some interesting cultural things that the students will be learning, but also some fun experiences that they might not otherwise get to experience. Day 4, we're going to travel to the Arno region and actually hike through the Arno Volcano National Park. So actually being able to see the landforms that we've been talking about in class this year. Day 5, take a kayaking trip along Lake Arno, visit La Fortuna Waterfall. Day 6, heading to Guanacaste. We're going to explore a national park while we're there, travel to Palo Verde National Park, taking a boat tour, also a snorkeling excursion, and then day 8, departing back home. Also, too, the food we can't forget about. The food is included. The students will have breakfast, lunch, and dinner included as part of the trip.
So when we talked with our rep from EF, who's located in Boston, we narrowed down dates. Again, this is 18 months out for a number of reasons, which I can talk about in a second. But summer dates. Every EF tour that I've been involved with is planned for the summer, so that we don't have to excuse students. We don't have to go into a lot of those logistic issues that you would have to do if it was during the school year. So we thought summer is perfect. Post July 4th, and then actually Max, our EF rep, told us that this is going to be the cheapest day for flights, the cheapest days for flights historically. So this is why we narrowed it down there. Because flights change, you have a flexible window too. That's the light blue there. So we could depart as early as July 13th. We could arrive back as late as July 6th, but it's an 8-day tour within that span. We lock in our actual departure and arrival dates about 3 months out before tour.
Okay, so you might ask what's all included in this trip that we're taking. It's really all inclusive. So our round trip airfare to Costa Rica and back, the hotel stays at all of the cities that we'll be in. All of the accommodations are 3 and 4 stars, comparable to U.S. hotels. We'll get breakfast, lunch, and dinner each of our full days there. Again, we're going to have a tour director, 24/7 bilingual, who will be able to be with us the entire time. We'll be traveling city to city with us. And again, if there's any issues, we'll be able to take care of those. And like Rick said, there is an office right there in Costa Rica that EF has. Transportation from city to city will be on a really comfortable motor coach bus. The kids will be able to spread out and be comfortable. In each of the cities, there's actually a local guide that we'll meet up with the tour director, and they'll actually be taking us through some of the sites that we'll be seeing, being able to explain them, giving us the history and the culture of their area, so they're actually getting to interact with people who actually live there and really explain what it's like. So all the guided sightseeing And any of the excursions that are included, it's all inclusive in that price. So there is no extra cost when they get there for any of the extra things that we will be doing. The only other kind of extras outside of that all-inclusive price are things like passports. So we'll be working with families and deadlines and letting them know how to apply, when they need to apply by, and making sure that everyone has a valid passport and will be able to travel. The other thing are baggage fees. Since we don't know exactly the airlines just yet, we'll be on major airlines, but until it's a little closer out, we don't know the exact details of that, so there could be some baggage fees. They do recommend, though, kids travel light and try to get a carry-on, otherwise there'll be a lot of luggage. Other things as well are, when we get there, providing tips for our tour director, our bus drivers, and then the local guides. And then even though our full meals are included each day, obviously kids get hungry throughout the day and are going to want some snacks, so some additional money for
tours.
snacks. Yes.
All right, so why we partner with EF, or that's who, we hope to partner with. They have local support, again, office in San Jose, that's invaluable. Safety and incident response team, that is a dedicated team to our tour that is on call 24 hours a day if anything were to occur. They told us about updated health standards. So post-pandemic, they have started an audit program where they audit all hotels and restaurants each year prior to sending anybody out. If the hotel or restaurant doesn't meet their standard, they take them off the list and find someone else. So I felt really comfortable with that. And then obviously, I think this is the part that makes me feel the most secure, is having a tour director with you at all times. So when it says 24/7, it means they're staying at the hotel with you, they're traveling with you, they are your guide the entire trip. This is what I was mentioning earlier. Again, students can earn half of a high school credit by using the personalized learning guide while they're on the trip, if they choose. And then obviously a 3 credit hour college experience is available as well at tuition cost, if that's something that they decide to do.
And you might ask, how can students come home changed from an experience like this? Growth mindset. Students are going to be able to, embrace new challenges. For them, this is going to be a huge experience. It might be the first time maybe they're away from home, so this is going to be a big challenge. So they come back with a lot of confidence in themselves to be able to experience those new challenges. A global perspective. A lot of our students, never been out of the country, much less out of Ohio or, even out of the surrounding area. So to come back with kind of that world perspective, seeing other places, other cultures. The person development. Students discover more about themselves, find new interests, kind of ignite a curiosity that maybe they didn't see in the classroom, but out in the real world, they found something about themselves. And also action and impact. What can they have learned and bring it back to being an impact in their own community or our school. And the really great thing again about EF, just they have this whole team of people that are working with us. Our travel team, that's Max there in the little circle there. He's been working with us. He has great communication skills. Anytime I have a question, I can reach out to him. He's helping us with the whole planning stage and helping us with the parent meeting. He's been amazing. There's a traveler support team as well, and this is a good place. There's a number there that parents and we can get a hold of if there's any sort of questions, anything from how to make payments online to if there's special dietary needs for any of the students or families. The tour director, again, a 24/7 person that will be with us, who's bilingual, who knows the area. It's going to travel with us from city to city, and again, they will always be with us. And then group leader, that's Rick and I, so we're going to do everything we need to do to make this the most amazing experience for our students and families.
So a couple programs that they have that they offer enrollees. One is the Peace of Mind program. If there were anything in the area or globally that would stop us from going, that EF would have to cancel the trip, whether it's political unrest, weather, global pandemic, we can reschedule that tour. So nobody's out of anything if EF has to cancel our trip on those dates. And then per traveler, included in our price is global travel protection. That includes if we've lost baggage, if we have lost personal effects, if there is any type of medical incident, there are certain medical fees that are covered there. And that's $190, I think, option that they've included in our package. And then the Travel Protection Plus, which is an extra $350 on top of the price, includes like a cancel anytime kind of option, right? So families could cancel at any time and get all of their money back, less fees, if they decide to do the Travel Protection Plus. So when we start talking about deadlines, this is one of them, the risk-free enrollment period. That deadline is December 17th. So if we enroll, if student X enrolls in the trip prior to December 17th, they have a 14-day period to cancel for any time. If they say, oh my gosh, that's my parents' wedding anniversary, we have vacation planned, they can cancel and get anything that they deposited back completely. After December 17th, that goes away. So if we have to cancel, we've lost those funds that we put toward that. So this is just kind of a summary page. We went over our itinerary, payments and protection, safety and support, and then personalized learning, that high school credit, college credit kind of piece. So these are the numbers that we're looking at right now as of December 12th. If student X were to pay in full today with a $200 discount that goes away on December 17th, that price is $32.89. After that enrollment period, or after, that discount period, the price goes up to $34.89. They have a bi-weekly plan, they have a monthly plan. They also have a manual payment plan where you can change the intervals of your payments as well as the amounts of your payments. So there's a lot of ways to get this done. And one of the reasons that we plan 18 months out, and it's very typical for tours to plan 18 months out, is because each month this price has the potential to increase. The biggest increases come on January 1st, March 1st, July 1st. So right now is the cheapest that we can provide for our students. And so when we talk about deadlines or a time crunch, that's the major reason, is because we have access to some discounts and the lowest prices available right now. There's also a scholarship available. EF also provides a customizable fundraising page for every student where they can send a lead cap to family and friends and have them donate directly to the principal balance that they have left with EF, which I think is very cool. We can do a lot of neat things with that. This would just be the QR that we use for enrollment after a parent meeting. So that is the entirety of our presentation. I'm sure that there are questions left.
So to break this down, and like I said, I'm not like pumping the brakes, but clearly the rollout of this was Rick Hudgel seeking to gauge interest in our families and our kids. So that's not coming to me, and that's why I don't like the part because there's nobody resisting. Opportunities for kids are always great. The answer is always yes. Opportunities for kids, it's always smart and the right move. It came to us here where it's almost that error, it's not during school time. However, Mr. Hudgel and Lori, by way of their positions, they're drawing upon Norwalk kids. So that's the line of, to me, it needs to go through the board and say, yes, I'm good with that, because otherwise, if you and I want to go to Australia, for example, I'm fine with anybody making that case for why we want to do that. But this was pushed out early. We have all this generated excitement, and then we're coming here to say, are you fine with this? So that's the play of how this rolled. And like I said, there shouldn't be a resistance of, yeah, opportunities for kids are great. Those that want to do it, great, let's do it. But that's the rollout of what it is, because when he said, let's have a parent meeting, well, let's have a talk here, because I'd like for you as a board to say, yes, continue this process, or no, let's not, because I'm not comfortable with that. So
I'm going to tell you right now, as soon as we started this, I did a search of Costa Rica. U.S. Embassy issues warning just this year of Americans traveling to Costa Rica for an increased security threat to American citizens there due to gang violence and drug wars down in Costa Rica. Thing that I'm not really comfortable with is 5 days before the deadline is this being brought to us, and it's already been brought to parents coming to us saying, hey, do you know anything about the Costa Rica trip? We're like, the what? And that's how the board found out about this, which is to us uncomfortable because there's a communication breakdown between this, going to the parents first and then getting the parents and kids all excited about it and then coming to the board. It's a lot thrown at us because this is a different country. The security in this country is not the greatest. I've been to Central America. I've been to South America. I know what it's like down there. And for the kids and parents to be all excited about, okay, let's do this. And then for it to be thrown at us like, hey, but we have the board that we have to go to first before we can get approval to do this. That, to me, I'm uncomfortable with.
I guess I understand too what Mr. Norris is saying, but I understand that you wanted to gauge interest. And there's a way of doing that. I tend to agree that I think that no matter if it happens in the summer or not, these are our students, and we have a liability to take them out of the country. I'm not sure about EF, and you mentioned the local schools that also go through EF. Is this the same age group that usually goes, or is there a general age group that goes in the local area?
Yeah, so, in the local area, I'm not positive. I planned a high school trip for Margaretta before. And I know that they're taking their, I believe, ag program to Ireland. So that would be a high school trip as well. There are middle school only trips, and there are trips that are for ages under 12. If you're under 12, it's required that you have a parent with you. If you're 12 and over, they allow you to go with chaperones. So Lori and I felt like there aren't many opportunities for middle school age kids. Let's target that age. So that's how we ended up there. But yes, it is typical for middle school age kids to travel with EF.
And I get what Mr. Pooley's saying. He's not gonna, mostly, all the superintendents I've ever met, he wants to give as many opportunities to our students as possible.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna lie, I do have reservations. I don't feel like we have enough information, and I'm very nervous about the deadline that you have. I don't feel like we can just rubber stamp and say go right now. I think there's a lot of information and if the board has to approve it, we need more time and a little more information before we can approve it. I mean, it doesn't say anything about, are there parents going? Is there a limit to how many kids that, if there's two of you, how many kids that you can actually chaperone effectively? Do we have to then have more adults? There are also financial avenues that you can actually help. From what I understand, I don't remember isn't it the same company or the same? GeoTrack. I was gonna say, isn't it the same? So there's also opportunities of making, if this is the way we go, to make it cheaper and make it more affordable for our students. I feel like if our deadline's in 5 days, it doesn't give a lot of opportunity to even explore that.
Yeah, so we don't get to choose the deadline, unfortunately. And,
Right.
The deadline is what it is. And it doesn't mean that people can't go on a trip. It just means it's going to be more expensive. Also, just so you guys know, on any communication we sent out, we had the caveat of pending board approval on there. So anybody that was reading that information, it said right there that we're pending board approval.
I did actually see it. I had a parent ask me, and I was one of the board members. I was like, "What? I don't know what you're talking about." But I guess we just don't want it to be, we have concerns and we're slowing this process. And now look at the board, but we haven't had even as much information as they had or enough time to digest it. So I don't know if we need to make some kind of approval tonight.
So-
I don't know what that means.
So I have talked, some schools, they treat it as though this is AAA, not during school time, not our baby. I'm not in my position, I don't view it as that. He, by way of his position, by way of her position, we are attracting our kids, our Norwalk kids. So I don't separate that. That's why I want to have this stamp here. Yet none of you on this board, exactly what Jeremy's saying, wants parents fired up because all things that we do are good for kids, and yet we're the stopper. We're not in that role to say, we don't want this to happen, but I feel very rushed too in that part.
Again, I don't want to be known as the stopper. I just want a little more time and
Yeah.
information. And I think that if we're not offering it to anyone outside of Norwalk City School District, that sets a different tone that this is our trip. That means it's our liability. And have we had students go out of the country recently?
We have not. So we have had a lot of kids who have come in, and EF has changed their name for what it stands for. So we've had a lot of kids, exchange kids, come to us in my time, Norwalk has not been a place where we've sent a lot out. With GeoTrack and what's funny, Jody Chafee, their mission is very much that. Get our kids to the world or bring the world to us. And with Dan White and his access to people, as a high school principal, I had wonderful speakers, Dan Ballman knows that as well, that were brought in because you had these contacts that your children benefit from. They heard the message and the EPAC from these people. The world was brought to us. We have not had where Norwalk kids are exposed to the world. So that's the part I do like. GeoTrack, when you say, I can't afford it, we don't have the, we have the means, and that's why I said that's what's beautiful about Norwalk. We have people, and GeoTrack is one that supports that because that's very much the line of what they want to see happen.
So, Gus, I'm not sure what our move is or not. I would like to hear the feedback from the parents. What are their concerns? What are their concerns on liability, safety, and how much do they have concern on the price? I'd hate to exclude a lot of students because they can't afford an experience if we do choose to go this route. And we do have that, and I don't know how much time that would take to see if we could get approval for funding for that. But I feel a little rushed. I don't know what we don't know yet, and I would like a little more information before I can really give my thought on it.
And I would just say generally, of course, I think our reservations are born out of concern, right? Risk, taking your kids out of the country, certainly there's some liability there. But I would say for the board, I think we have to consider the interest. 70 people signing up in 2 weeks or whatever time frame. I think there's an appetite for people to sort of take these sorts of trips. And I think that has to be considered along with the risk.
And Ms. Wilkin and I checked right before we came over as well, and we're up to about 97 people RSVP. That equated to about 50 families with 24 more families asking for information because they can't make it.
And I think, like you said, overall, it's an amazing experience. I mean, I personally have been out of the country once, and, I know many people that have never. So I don't think that it's the trip itself sounds amazing. And it would be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Like you said, I think that shows that there's interest. I want to just make sure that we're looking at everything for safety before we just say, let's move forward.
So you gauge parent interest, that's what you're doing, that's what you want to have next, correct?
So we have an opportunity to enroll, build into our presentation. If we need to take that part out, we can. We're just missing, those times where we can get a discounted price.
Yeah, and I mean, we're talking a couple $100s per person.
And the other thing, I'm sorry.
Is that right, though?
It's a $200 discount.
Okay.
The other thing is if they enroll before the 17th, we have a 14-day window where it's a risk-free cancellation. You know what I'm saying? So that buys us, 14 more days if we do allow people to enroll prior to the 17th.
If the board has to make a decision, where are you guys at? With letting them, I guess, enroll. We don't even have another meeting in 14 days.
Is this a special presentation for it, or, or did we just come to stamp something and give them go ahead to do it?
Well, I mean, if they have to have an approval to enroll, I think we have,
Do we have to
get that
approval to
approval.
enroll?
I would say, no, you don't need that part.
Okay.
I just want the fact that these are Norwalk kids, and that's why I very much feel a tie here. I understand the rush. To me, $200 in the scheme of things of raising money, that's not worth the rush if it's a matter of this, because this happens, this trip is successful, you know what that means for future years. We have this system down, we know how to operate. This is the first time in my entire that we've sent kids to another country as a school group. You may think it's a school group, it's Norwalk kids that we're doing this.
Yeah, unless we're opening it.
The timing of this, I would like to say, yeah, you have that ability, because $200, when we get supports from people for rushing something for the first time, yeah, I would be very much in favor of that. You have your parent meeting, you have that things, but we'll be able to say and not have to do a call tonight.
Okay, I like that thing first. Everybody else feel fair on that?
Yeah, I think it's still pending approval of the board.
And we can get feedback.
Go ahead and allow that, but we still have a lot of information that we don't have that I just don't like I said, I've been to Central and Southern America. I know how it is down there. I know the security. And I really don't feel comfortable sending kids down there. But I guess if we need to gauge interest and see what other parents think about the risks compared to the rewards, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like that's fair, and I think you will get some feedback on parents on their concerns and
Yeah.
what they have, and I would like to know just some liability side of this too, before we can really say, let's move forward.
So we continue to keep the enrollment option in the presentation if parents decide to, is that where we're at?
I guess to me, I would make sure they understand, we don't even have another board meeting in the next 14 days, so there's a risk to them if it doesn't get approved by the board and needs approved by the board. I don't want to make any promises to the parents, and if it's only 14 days and we don't even have another meeting and we have holidays coming up, I feel like it's risky, because if it doesn't get approved, then I don't want them to have anything. If it needs approved. Again, I don't know that.
And can that be made clear at the meeting?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
But I mean, again, I think I want to make sure we're kind of talking about the things that we're worried about, but this sounds, I mean, anything, I mean, if it's this trip or any trip, if we can do this for our students and offer it for our students, I mean, I don't think there's anyone on this board that would love to be able to do that.
Right.
I just want to make sure we feel very comfortable about it first.
Yep. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so, executive session, may I have a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of compensation of an employee for discussion?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Norris?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Wissensauer?
Yes.
6:31.
So we go.
I don't know. Should we go?
board is out of executive at 7:02.
Thank you, Joyce.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we deny the agreements by Mr. Jeff Burkett.
Okay, motion to deny grievance by Mr. Jeff Burkett. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to take the vote. A yes vote would be to agree to deny the motion. A no vote would be to support the grievance. Joyce?
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Norris?
Yes.
Mr. Ritzenthaler?
Yes.
Thank you. Public participation. Each person who wishes to address the board will be asked to give his or her name and address. Remarks should be limited to 3 minutes in length. If after everyone who wishes to do so has had the opportunity to speak, additional comments may be made up to a total allotted time of 30 minutes. No? Okay. Before we go to treasurer's report, I would like to allow Mr. Norris here to be excused from the rest of the meeting so he can not miss his kid's concert.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
When you're ready, Joyce, treasurer's
Okay,
report.
well, actually, I really don't have much for you tonight. Last month was the big meetings. Not much here, we just have the minutes. I sent the financial reports out to you. Big thing there was the debt service payment. We have 1 more year, well, 2 more years, but we only need to collect for 1 more year. So that's really exciting. Our beautiful new high school will be paid off. So only time to build that beautiful new building across the street. For donations, we had 176 turkeys. Fisher Titus had ordered, I guess, extra turkeys for their employees and had left over, so they contacted our teacher at Main Street, and she was able to find homes for these turkeys in time for Thanksgiving, so that was really exciting. Firelands Historical Society donated money, Paul Brown Committee, $773.68 to the football activity fund. And then finally, we have an FMLA for one of our staff members. Estimated dates, December 11th through February 11th, 2024.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
May I have a motion for approval of all items under treasurer reports?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ritzenthaler?
Yes.
Personnel.
Yes, items for approval, we have a special needs aide in Kendall Hershiser, Teresa Bueno, and Mrs. Ramos as education assistant, and other special needs, Melissa Walsh. Number 5 is substitutes. Like I said, that's always a good list to have strengthened each month, and that's certified and classified. Those are going to help out. I was hopeful that Joe Centers was going to be here today. We do similar to what we did for Mr. Moore and recognize what he's done in covering of Norwalk City School District news. So it's great that we have Norwalk Reflector and Norwalk Ohio News to cover all the great happenings with our kids. But yeah, he is signing on board to be a certified classified employee with Norwalk City School District. So looking forward to Mr. Centers in that capacity. 6, we have study table Norwalk High School. That's one additional ad. That's a new hire for us, and he's going to help out, and that's that hour program tutoring after school in Eric Hall. Volunteers, we have 2 there that are going to help out, and resignation. So this, I had just mentioned the name is number 2. She actually had other things that came up, so she was a 1-day hire, and then she is in resignation. So I've never done this before, but we have a hiring and a resignation all within the same agenda. So that is all.
Okay. May I have approval or motion to approve all items under personnel?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? So do we have another position open then for custodian?
Yes, that is currently open, and I think the post concludes tomorrow. So with those, and we do have applicants, so that the interview process will begin.
Any other discussion? Roll call please.
Mr. Ritzenthaler?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Superintendent report.
So this primarily is going to be the handoff back to you all. So this Stefan and I looked at times, knowing the records retention piece does not take very long, so we shifted some of those times, looking still for a 6:30 start time. So looking for the 6 p.m. organizational meeting, 6:25 for records retention, and then starting the regular meeting at 6:30. At that point, there'll be discussion as to, we want to look, because we've talked different days, conflicts. We know obviously with parents and kids that are active, it's tough not to have conflicts any given night. Typically, You look at Wednesday, works better in the sports and performance-based things, but then there's other things potentially that are church night that kids are going to. So like, it is tough to find any perfect night where there's not conflicts. And we're talking 5 board members, 3 other people at the table here, to what we're looking at. So those things, more or less, I'll hand it back to you, Mrs. Crawford, as to your thoughts on that going forward. That'll be in January for the 24 calendar year.
Okay, great. So first I'll see, is there a motion to approve items under superintendent report?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, so for discussion, yeah, I try to get a little bit of feeler about Tuesday night compared to another night or Wednesday night. I don't think we need to make that decision obviously until January, but if everybody will kind of look at their calendars, decide what might be best for them on a night, that we could try to stay consistent. I'm pretty flexible, other than, yes, I have multiple kids that have things going on. I think all of us are kind of in that same boat, but also if there is a time also that might help on a certain night, maybe we can also look at changing the time to be more flexible with everything else that goes on in the district, so we can not miss anything. So if everybody can kind of come prepared with what might be best for them next year, then we can figure that out. Any other discussion? No? Roll call, please.
Mr. Wittenholler?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Okay, for discussion, Ecobee News.
Okay, really, I have nothing to add because it's been a while since we met over there. I met with Mr. McCauley today. He called me and I asked him anything he wanted me to say. There's nothing highlighting. The only other thing I'd like to say is, like I said in my opening comments, I'd like to thank this board for the opportunity to serve up there. And I told him, I said, I've already told them that probably tomorrow night will be my last, and they were fine with that. And I just want to thank you for that opportunity. I really did appreciate it.
Any legislative report?
Well, so I sent out some information about House Bill 187, which would really be a win-win because it's a temporary expansion of the homestead tax credit. Unfortunately, the legislature has decided to make the expansion not reimbursed by the state, but instead the school district will lose out on any revenue from the homestead. So that's kind of a bummer, because usually the homestead's a win-win. Taxpayers get a discount and the state reimburses it, so all your taxing entities are still made whole. But the language in this has other taxing entities will be made whole by the state. Specifically, school districts will not. We will be required to pay 50% of it, which we don't pay it, we would just lose the money. So it's kind of a, they're spending our money with no input from us. So that's why I sent Representative Stein an email letting him know what our input was. So going forward, hopefully we'll see some changes on that. If not, maybe when it gets to the governor's desk, he's able to line item veto that part and still expand it. It's only for 3 years, but still expand it without it hurting school districts. So that's out there.
Did he answer you at all?
No.
I didn't think he would.
No. So, and they are looking to study property tax, so hopefully there will be changes, good changes. It's always worrisome because there's so many moving parts to it, but I don't know why they don't just do it as part of the study, but maybe that's too far away. Anyhow, that's all I have.
Any other board discussion?
I have an informational item. So we have our task force tomorrow. That's going to be our second meeting. So that's going to be our selected group of, Norwalk City School District staff, as well as community members, business leaders in Norwalk. So that is happening tomorrow, and we're going to be meeting with Garmin Miller, so that'll be in the same space. And then we are hopeful that in 2024, in the new year, in January and or beginning of February, we'll begin to have community meetings then to speak of what have we discussed, kind of what is the streamlined focus for the bill across the street. So very excited about that happening, like I said. So the second task force is tomorrow night.
And I would like to put in a plug for some exciting, a couple of events coming up here in the next couple of days. Back in I believe it was in the fall, when we looked at expanding the drama, department, at Main Street Middle School. Tomorrow night and Friday night is the first of, the two different plays or performances. Main Street will be holding their performances on a Wednesday, Friday night, The Frog and Toad. I've been following them, from afar, as they progress through their casting. I was able to, I slipped over to Main Street today to see their final rehearsal, and I was completely blown away by the talent of those young kids, those students. So if you're able to, Wednesday night, Friday night, I think that you will be very pleased with what you see. Mrs. Brooker and Mrs. Schnell have done a wonderful job, in talking with them. The students have been involved in every aspect of that preparation, from painting, with the sets. It was just amazing to see that, those students are, the talent that they have. So just a plug for that. And then, looking into the spring, it'll shift to the middle school. So if you get a chance, to head out, I think that you'd be very pleased.
Exciting. All right. No other discussion. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
roll call please.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mrs. Strawbridge,
Yes.
Mr. Ritzenthaler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Secretary?